you guys doing? Heard Jamila here. Today, I have a guest, John Metchie, and this time is brought to you guys by their Opportunity organization, opportunity that helps kids across Canada being able to pursue their dream. Sports-wise, the opportunity really do a good job helping kids and their family that are not in privileged or financial position to pay for sports, and then the opportunity, that's when they step up. And last year they created a park for kids in a rather tough neighborhood. So without further notice, can you introduce yourself, bro?
Oh, what up, man? Appreciate you for having me, John Metchie. I just finished playing football at the University of Alabama from Brampton, Canada. Now pursuing my dreams at the NFL.
So you said you're from Brampton. How was it like for you growing up in Brampton, Ontario? And just talk about that a little bit.
Man, it was great growing up in Brampton. Brampton will always be home. Just type of people that are there, the type of guys I grew up with, their friends that'll be friends for life, and just the environment. The environment raised me, and I'm very grateful for that. So
you said Brampton. Brampton is not known to be the best place in Canada or Ontario itself. So like, what are some, I guess, organization? I'm from Montreal, and the place that we used to go every single Friday and Saturday nights, so we can kind of stay away from the mix, was to go to YMCA, play basketball, or whatever was going on that night. So is there any places like that where you from?
Yeah. When we were little, a place called Cassie Campbell had just opened up, so everybody would go there, hoop, try and get in the gym, or just try and be in the mix. But for the most part in Brampton, everybody was just on the street, find a park, find some grass, play football. It wasn't much much. You just kind of had your guys and just was out on the street playing.
I definitely feel that. Like I said, organization. I'm right now repping this organization because I'm a product of organization like this that helped me get to where I'm at today. So you, in the path that you're going, is there any organization in mind that you ever felt like you can team up with, or anything that you would like to do to your community back in Brampton, Ontario?
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely love to go back and team up with organizations just like this one, that focus on helping kids that didn't have the resources, because I was one of those kids that didn't have the resources. So definitely in the future, I definitely plan to go back to Brampton, be around just the kids, just the whole thing.
So now we're gonna get into the meat of the conversation. So I'm from Montreal, West Island, so we mostly speak English. We didn't really have any pros, NFL, NBA, MLB, you name it. We didn't really have a lot of pros like that. So for me, when I was about 15, I realized that in order for me to get to my dream and become the best player I possibly could be, I kind of had to cross the border and go to prep school route. And that kind of triggered me. So for you, what was it like for you? What triggered you in order to cross the border and kind of follow your dreams the way that you did it?
Yeah, definitely. Just like I didn't really have any pros I looked up to growing up. I didn't really have any teams I watched. Didn't really watch sports as much. I just had my friends and my brothers, and I credit it all to my older brothers. They raised me to be who I am, and to me, my brothers were my hero. They were the pros I looked up to. Royce, Leon, and Miles, them playing football, they were I didn't know about any NFL players or anything like that. So to me, they were it, and kind of the same thing of realizing young that you had to cross the border to chase that dream is kind of, which was kind of their dream, and it kind of became my dream as well. And it's something that fortunately I was able to do. My mom allowed me to do. My family supported me, and I had that chance.
So like you said, family, me too. For me, the biggest thing was trying to get my mom to, put that ink on a paper that said you can go. So for you, was it tough? Because I left when I was 17. Was it tough for you to kind of leave, be away from home, be away from your brother? You said your inspiration and heroes. Was it tough for you to kind of not be in arm's reach?
At the time, I'm sure it was extremely tough for my mom, knowing that she had 4 boys and didn't allow them to go, but me being the youngest. And I guess I was lucky that she finally let me go, just because she had said no to them previously before me. But at the time, I can't say it was tough, just because I was just so excited to go and just have the opportunity to be there and try and make something. Looking back at it, that's definitely a big decision to make as a 14-year-old kid, moving away from your family and stuff like that.
14.
Yeah, so
You left early.
Yeah, I left young. I left really young.
Damn, yeah, man. I didn't leave that late. That early. Yes. I don't. It's just like it's different. Like I try to explain to a lot of people, like it's different when you cross the border. It's different. Like the way people think, the way people act is different. And Canada is more like you kind of know everybody, and everybody kind of think the same way. But like being on the other side is a whole different mindset and a whole different thought. What did you see when we get there? What was kind of like, okay, I'm in a different place now?
Yeah, it was completely different. It was America and all that comes with it, and sports is huge there, and the culture there is different than back in Toronto and Brampton. But just to me, I always felt like I had a bigger chip on my shoulder, a bigger edge, and I was hungry because, like you and I, we were leaving our country to go pursue this dream, whereas everybody else and all the people I was surrounded by, they lived there, they were born there, so since they could easily take easy opportunities for granted, like just being at a high school in America where you could play football. So for me, and realizing that at 14, I just always knew I was just hungrier, just because I know so many talented people out of Brampton, and lots and lots of talented people out of Brampton, and we don't have the same opportunities over there, especially when it comes to sport and football.
So like you said, where did you go to the prep school when you left home?
I went to prep school in Maryland, a boarding school in Hagerstown, Maryland, St. James School.
So you go to prep school, you hit the ground running, you become one of the most touted athletes in your class. So what was it like for you? Because I know that, when you get a certain amount of stars, 3, 4, you start getting offered by the day, and then it's official visits, and it's like some guys have top 5, top 10. So for you, what was it like? What was your top 5, and like what was it like? And did you take any official visit to those schools that you decided to focus on?
Yeah, so mine was kind of unique because, like, in my mind, I wanted to be the best, and this was young. I didn't know football. I didn't know much about the details of it, but I just set the goal that if I want to be the best, okay, there's a goal right there. So I never really paid attention to stars and camps, and I just wanted to be the best. I wanted to go to the best school. Whoever the best school was at the time, that's where I wanted to go. So once I learned about Alabama, University of Alabama, watched their games, saw their history, in my mind, it was just always Alabama. So as the offers started coming in, like, it was cool. It was cool. Definitely by the day you get a bunch of offers every day. But in my mind, it was always, I'm going to the best school regardless. Like, I don't care where it is. So like, even before I had Alabama, when I would get offers, like people would be like, are you super excited? And of course I was grateful always, but like, that wasn't the goal for me. So just always having set the bar so high, just in my mind, I knew I was going to Alabama. I had the top 5 because of course you should weigh your options. And when you enough to have options. And it was Alabama, Penn State, and LSU really. I think it kind of came down to just 3 for me.
Mm-hmm. So like you just said, Alabama, I feel like with those 3, you couldn't have went wrong because, like you said, your work ethic and the way that you see things probably would have got you to the point that you're at right now. But what was it like for you? What separated, like you just said, Alabama was the best school. Was it anything else that separated Alabama from everybody else? And the question that everybody would love to know is like, what was it like being recruited by Coach Saban and staff?
Yeah, so being recruited by Coach Saban and his staff is definitely a thrilling feeling because you're being recruited by one of the greatest coaches to ever coach. So it's definitely an experience, and into a place where everybody is supposed to be the best. And in my mind, because I wanted to be the best, why not go test myself against the best? If I saw it as if I could succeed in Alabama, where everybody who's supposed to be the best in the country is supposed to be at this one school. If I can succeed there, I feel like I definitely have a chance of reaching my dream. So that's kind of how I thought about it.
Yeah, and in that same thought process, so you came in college when I was leaving. I came in the University of Connecticut in 2015, and I got there in the receiver room. There was only probably like 2 guys that I felt like was ahead of the pack. I was just like, all right, like, it ain't the end of the world for me. You know what I mean? I felt like I can compete. You got 4 receivers on the field, so technically I was playing. I also like for you to go in the receiver room where that produced at that point 3 first-round pick and hopefully 4 with you going out in the draft this year. What was it like for you, kind of like the whole process of waiting your turn in that receiver room?
Yeah. So, of course, coming out of high school, a lot of people like to talk, and have their opinion about you and where you should go and be like, you're not going to play. And lots of kids hear it. But to me, I understood that I was going into the most talented team in the country and that there's a process. And people, they say it a lot there and people hear it a lot of trusting the process. And I knew that's what I was going to have to do. I wasn't just going to come in day one and be the guy. They had, They had 4 first rounders actually before me in that room. Really deep class. So my whole thought process just coming into college was just, I'm gonna work as hard as I can and I'm gonna learn as much as I can in that year. I saw the field a little bit. I was a true freshman. I never redshirted, so that was cool. But I understood that, we had 4 first rounders before me, and you just have to wait your time and just be patient and just continue to work. Even when I think the biggest thing was just knowing that I wasn't starting that year, but I never took my foot off the gas pedal. I wasn't just, all right, I will wait till it's my turn and then I'm gonna start working. It's building up that credit until when you get your opportunity, and then you just never let it go.
Yeah, and that's like, to me, my freshman year, I got a fractured wrist, and they advised me to redshirt, and I said, no, I don't want to redshirt because, like you said, I didn't want to feel like I fell behind the whole process. Because whenever you redshirt, pretty much just lift, and then you lift, you go to practice. That's pretty much your life, and I didn't want that. So there's certain days where, of course, you got treatment in the morning. Like I was there like at 5:30 until my days went from 5:30 to goddamn 12. Yeah. So like for me, someday I would go in there ready to go. I'm like, I gotta prove myself, and someday I'll be a little bit more down. Was it for you any instance where you go like in practice field, the meeting room, where kind of look around and kind of question yourself about going there, or was it kind of always steady for you, like you said, a process?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. There's definitely days where you question it, especially at a place like Alabama. Everybody does. Yeah. There are definitely days where you question it. There are definitely days where you don't feel like it. But I think the biggest thing for me was even on those days, you just got to at least keep going. You're there anyway. I just look at it like I'm here anyway. I might as well get to work and I might as well get better. And it's just, I think the biggest part is working and grinding, especially on the days you don't feel like it. I think that's the biggest turning point, because a lot of people on the days they don't feel like it, they don't. And then the days they do, they do. And that's kind of how you fall behind the person who's always working, regardless of how they feel.
I like that. And so fast forward 3 years after you get in college, you're one of the most accomplished receivers in Alabama history. And we know that they have a lot of big names. You know, your numbers speak for itself. 154 catches over 3 years, 2,081 yards, and 14 touchdowns. And not to get away from the question, but like, what's up with the celebration? Where did that come from, and like, what's the history behind it?
So that one was, so my bro J-Mo and I, everybody has handshakes. We got handshakes with everybody.
Yeah.
We were trying to think of a handshake just before the season, and we just couldn't find the right one for us. And we were just like, okay, but just one night before the season, I was just in my room watching movies. I went on I think it was one weekend, I went on a movie marathon, and I ended up watching Karate Kid. I watched all the Karate Kids. Mm-hmm. All the Aiden Smith one, the ones before that, the original ones, of course. And that they all had that moment in their last fight where they would all hit a type of crane or something like that. And every time I watched it and that scene came up for that specific movie, I was like, that's hard. So I texted it to him, and I'm like, he actually sent me a text last week. He sent me a text last week of just because so many teams and people are doing it now, and just lots of schools are doing it. And he was like, it's funny how we said before the season that this was gonna go crazy. So it really just came from watching the movie, watching Karate Kid movies before the season.
You know, I definitely always wonder, and I even asked Royce, and never got the answer that I wanted, so I wanted to ask you first. So, like you said, you go to a school, most accomplished receiver. Like nowadays, there's this thing called the transfer portal. For people that don't know, transfer portal, you can get in there if you know like a situation, you get in a transfer, and then tomorrow you go from receiver 4 to receiver 1. So, like for you, like what's something that you can tell those guys that are kind of like looking around and kind of don't want to go through a process? What are some things that you can tell them as far as like staying and trusting the process?
Yeah, I think it's believing in yourself. Like I always believed in myself, regardless of the days. My freshman year, when I was the 5th receiver on the depth chart, just behind all those guys ahead of me. It's just believing in yourself. It was never a question. I had a goal and a dream and a structured outline of how I wanted to do things, and I wasn't gonna vary from that just because times got hard or I went through some adversity or the timetable wasn't according to my plan. It was just keeping a strong faith, trusting God, and working hard, and just keeping that belief in myself.
So, like I said, that's right. I feel like a lot of kids don't really get that. It's kind of shying away from competition, and if you don't do that, you can't become your best player because the guy, whoever's in front of you, whether he's better than you or not, they're in that position for a reason, and you can take their spot. And I personally feel like that's when you really become yourself and find another level of your game. So you spent 3 years at Alabama. You won in 2020, and then you lost some. Well, like, what is it feeling? Because not many people get to this feeling of winning a championship. What was it like for you, kind of like that game? What do you remember from that game that you guys won?
That game was the most painful game I've had ever, and the best feeling, just because at the end of that season, I had like stress fractures in my shin, so I was playing hurt the last 4. I didn't really practice much. I was just going out there and playing, and at that point, my shin was crazy hurting. Like, so it was just, but it was a natty. I had to play, and there's no way I wasn't gonna play. No way I wasn't gonna finish the season. So in that aspect, it was painful. But at the end, when you win and it's all over, and you look back and y'all are the national champs, there's no team better. It was the best feeling, just because all that work that you put in camp, in summer, in the off season, just all of that work just pays off. So I think there's just it was no better feeling than that.
And how long did it take you for you, first of all, all right, I'm a national champion, for that to settle down? And how long from that moment to, all right, let's get back to work?
I think it took me probably a couple of days to be like, okay, I'm a national champion. I think in my mind, I was still just so worried about my leg. And it took me a couple of days. And then after that game, because it's a long season. It was such a long season, especially, 14 full SEC scheduled season. So it was such a long season. So it took a couple of days, but honestly, I wouldn't say it took more than 2 weeks really to snap back into, okay, we kind of focused on the next one. We enjoyed it for about a week or 2, and then just snap back into it. And it's kind of, you got to start all over, because now we have a bigger target on our back of that.
That's true. So I'm kind of going to switch gear here. As we know, it's, Black History Month, and a lot of things has been going on in the world in the last 2 years. There's COVID, and then there's the whole Black Lives Matter movement, the death of George Floyd. And you was down in Alabama, and we had a talk, and you told me that, there's, on Instagram, there's some things that you was doing. So would you mind talking about what it's like to be in the United States, in a place like Alabama that's racially divided, and kind of what was like that experience for you being down there during that point of time in history?
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely a moment to remember, and I think all the guys will remember for sure, especially being in a place like Alabama, like you said, like Alabama, and what thinks of Alabama and stuff like that, and how the pride of Alabama is the football team now, and the football program, now is predominantly Black people. So just that whole moment, it was definitely a moment, but it was great to see how our coaches supported us, especially Saban, how there's nobody that supported African-American athletes more than Coach Saban, and believed in them, and all the things that, and equality and everything. So it was definitely good to see that, or how our coaches stood behind us and pushed us and believed in us. So that, I think that was just a great moment for us.
And now, you went from Alabama, you're now a recognizable face, Black man, recognizable face across North America. What are some ways that you kind of as a Black man move nowadays? And what are some advice for younger kids that are going into the same, life that you're going to go to, how to conduct yourself and how you move as a Black man in this society today?
I think it's always just keeping the same principles that you learned from your parents. So I think that's the big one. I think never getting away from that. I think always being a stand-up person, always respecting everybody regardless of skin color or race or just anything. I think just having that respect, being a stand-up person, and things that people should always have and carry with them at all times.
Like that. So, I mean, that's pretty much all the question I had. But before we wrap this up, I got this thing called a quick six, which is like quick 6 questions.
Yeah.
Basically just a left or right and like kind of get to know you as a person. So start with the first one. What's your favorite route and why?
Any route on the route tree. But if I had wanted me to pick a route, I would just say a goal.
Yeah, money on the
I would just say a
goal ball
to the end zone. You know, fastest way.
I would have went with a slant because I feel like a slant is top of my head. There's 4 ways that you can run it, and I feel like slant is just an easy go. So second one, Canada or United States? Which one do you prefer?
That boy put me in the bind. I don't know because Canada will always be home regardless.
Yeah.
But in United States is where I work, is where it's why I'm able to play the sport I love. Canada for sure. Canada.
Yeah, most definitely. You can't forget where you come from. The third one is this question right here. I feel like you need to take your time to think about it because I feel like this question is like people like fight over this question. So the pineapple belongs on pizza.
Yes, right. Yes. Pineapple. Put that pineapple on your pizza.
I don't know about that one, man.
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like that's just one. Like, there's just some things that you don't do, and I feel like that's one of them. Like just putting pineapple on the pizza. I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't do it, but
that's one of those things where people gotta like try new things, open their mind, like start like not being just 2-dimensional. You know what I'm saying?
I'll try next time, definitely. But I don't know. I'll definitely give it a try. Question 4: what's your go-to snacks in the movies?
My go-to snacks in movies?
Yeah.
It's a type of candy for sure. It used to be Swedish Fish, but I ate too many of them and I kind of got pick it up. And Skittles too. I still eat a lot of Skittles, but I kind of got sick of those. But these the Laffy Taffy hard candies.
Okay, I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, them Laffy Taffy hard candy.
So what's your, and now 5, who's your favorite athletes of all time?
My favorite athlete of all time?
Yeah, regardless of sport.
Probably either Kobe or, I got a couple though. I got a couple. Can I give you 3? And
yeah, top 3, yeah, for sure.
Okay, I got Kobe, I got Mike Tyson, and I got Metchie.
Ooh, I don't know. I feel like those right there is tough because if you like, I would have went with Jordan, Ronaldo, and Muhammad Ali.
Damn. Okay.
It's you feel me? It's like it's. I feel like it's the same for everybody. It's just like different person the way they did it differently.
Yeah.
And last but not least, me and Royce argue about that like every other day when we was in the locker room. But who produces the best athlete, Brampton or Montreal? And don't be biased. Don't be biased. I know that you guys, you Brampton guys, take a lot of pride into that. But let's really look at it.
Not even trying to be as unbiased as I can. I believe it's just Brampton. I just believe it's Brampton. Just the amount of talent that we grew up around and saw, and we just feel like the amount of people that came and made it out of Brampton is such a small percentage to what Brampton and that whole area has to offer.
Yeah, I personally feel like Montreal is, but like I said, I think the biggest thing about Montreal is the language barrier. A lot of guys they got it, but they just can't explain because of that. So yeah, man, there's one last question that I have personally, because a lot of kids gonna be watching this. You know, there's a lot of kids in Brampton, in Canada, that are like looking at you, like your career path, and kind of aspiring to become that. Like, is there something that you like to tell them as far as like inspiring them, or kind of giving them motivation to one day maybe be where you are right now?
Yeah, definitely. I think it'll be don't be afraid to create your own path. You can't have the exact same path as somebody else. Don't be afraid to create your own path, and always believe in yourself. regardless of what anybody says, and it doesn't matter who says it. It doesn't matter whether it's a family member, whether it's your friends, whether it's your teacher or anything like that. Just always believe in yourself, because at the end of the day, it's your life and it's your dreams and goals. So I think just the biggest one will just be always believe in yourself.
Most definitely. I appreciate you for your time. Appreciate you. Appreciate Royce. Let him know that next time he comes to Montreal, dinner's going to be on me. So thank you for spending time with us, man.
Me and Royce got to come up for sure. Appreciate you for having me, bro.
Hell yeah, bro. You're welcome whenever. So have a great night, bro. I'm going to holla at you.